just showing you how people tend to use each of those there toward the end. This is what we plan on going through today. It's going to be a demonstration mode. So I'll be showing you, a tour throughout the network and throughout FICPnet.com. If you do want to toggle back and forth between watching the webinar and practicing yourself within the website, you're welcome to. But just know that we'll be demonstrating pretty much everything during this webinar. As I mentioned before, if you want to ask questions, there is a chat function over there on the right-hand side of your screen. Feel free to send questions to just me, which would be the, I think it's called the organizer. You can send that just to me, and then I can get the question, and I'll cover those either as we go, or if there's any at the end, we can also cover them at the end. All right, let's just jump right in. As most of you know, I'm sure, back in November at the FICP annual conference, we launched our new website, FICPnet.com. I'm just going to go through here and show you the highlights of this homepage and how to get around and navigate the site first. And then we'll go over to the internal tools, the network, and so forth. So at the top here is navigation, just like any other website. You can see all about FICP. Items here that are more geared toward our meeting planners, both current members and prospective members. Hospitality partner tools are here. Lots of information about our events and lots of resources here. This box here is what we call the slider. We have 6 slides there right now. Those are our top information to share with folks at any time. To make it clear, this is the website that is public to all, so anybody can view all of this. When we start getting into the network today, you'll see that's where only current meeting planner and hospitality partners can be. These 3 highlight boxes show up here on the home page. They also show up on just about every one of the secondary pages. So if I were to go to their annual report page, you'll see those same 3 boxes show up over here on the right-hand side, just as they do in the middle there on the home page. We highlight our strategic partners right below there. And then this footer, which actually is loaded with a lot of great information and links for you. It shows our latest news. This blue link right here will take you to more of the news, how to find us on social media, and a lot of the links that people use the most often here. I want to call out right in this second get in touch on the right, the second box over here. There is a new form. This is a form to give feedback on the website or to report a bug, anything you might find that you think might be updated, or if you have an idea for a page or an idea for an enhancement or anything like that. This form, quite simple. Click on it. You fill it out with whatever the information is here and what your idea is, and submit, and that comes directly to us, directly to me actually as the community manager. So I'll get that right away and be able to get back with you and let you know what what we might do about your request. So one thing here back on the home page, one thing we heard right away when this site went live is that people were very curious about how to find other people that were part of FICP, the directories. So what we did recently is we made one of these call-out highlight boxes, again, that shows up on just about every single page on the site, a way to understand how the directories look for you at this time. They do look different, and you do find them differently than you did on the old website. So we created this page to explain that. You'll notice here we have 2 different ways to look people up. We have the full directory search, which is part of the My FICP area. We'll try that out in just a couple of minutes here. And then we also have a full exportable Excel download list available out of the network, and I'll show you that in a little bit as well. So this allows you to literally download the information about the hospitality partners and meeting planners all in one place. The My FICP area allows you to search for them by different criteria. We'll look at that in just a minute. So I wanted to call that out. That directories box has become very important, I think, to a lot of folks who are looking to connect with others. All right, go back to the home page here. So what we're going to do is log right in. this My FICP link up in the bar here will take you to this login page. And if you're not a member yet, of course, make that a very easy one click to join. My email address and password are saved already. I recommend you do the same thing. So you put in your FICP login information, click Remember Me, and when you come back to this page another time, yours will also be pre-populated there. So it's kind of nice to have it there and not have to worry about it. All right, here we are. So this is the My FICP login page. And again, you can only see this if you are a current hospitality partner or a meeting planner. This is where you can get to anything that is specific to you, and it's very custom based on your membership. So the network is where we'll go shortly. That's our online private networking tool. My information is where you can update your own member profile information, your demographics, and so forth. You can also update your password here. My membership and transactions, that's to check out your member status, if you have any open invoices, if you're a hospitality partner, a sponsorship thing, any of that can all be found here. This is where that member directory is that I was talking about. You could search for people there. And this is where you can go to the network for the complete member directory export. So I'll show you this member directory first. So again, this is the search by name, where they work, what type of meetings they might work with, which venues they choose, all sorts of different things here. In the interest of time, I won't really get into this, too heavily, but let's say you want to just pull anyone who happens to be in the Northwest. So this will pull up all the information here. I think I clicked Northeast, not Northwest. Sorry about that. So Northeast. Anyway, so this pulls back anybody, planning member or hospitality partner, who would have that designation in the Northeast. And all the records are here. You can just browse through. You can also connect with that person out of the network. This is a really great quick link here. If you click here, you can go and connect with that person right out of the network directly. Now the other way to pull a full member directory export, again, is out of the network, and we'll do that right now. Let's just take you right there. So what we did is made that a direct link to our most recent full download list. So this is within the resource. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. We'll go back in just a minute, but I wanted to make sure this directory thing was clear. So you get out to this FICP member and HPR list. You can download it with this green button right away. I don't know if you can see down in the left-hand corner, but my computer at a download shows it in my browser right here in the left corner. And here we are. There's two tabs in this file. There's the Meeting Planner tab and the Hospitality Partner tab. Okay. If any questions have come up about the directories, again, feel free to use that chat function within the webinar to send them my way, and we'll address them as we go. All right. As you may notice, my instance today of the network is not actually myself. Usually it says, "Hello, Nicole," here on the upper left-hand side, but Eldon Gale has been gracious enough to allow me to borrow his profile today to do this tour. It seemed to make more sense to show you an actual member's view of what the network looks like rather than my own. So Eldon, if you're on the call, thank you very much for sharing. So this is the meat and potatoes. This is the network. Let me jump back out to the website here for just a second. If you had clicked on here, back at the website, the login now on the network, or even if you had, this resources tab here, the network, you would have ended up where we've now landed here, which is the dashboard of our internal networking tool. Divided into three sections. There's your own information at the upper left-hand corner. And this whole left-hand side is really a dashboard of what you can get to from the network. This middle panel shows community updates and your own updates. This "what are you doing" is actually something you can update right away. It also shows you any connections people have made lately. So people who you are already connected to might have made more connections in the last few days. Now, one of the nice things about the network here is that this dashboard can be customized a bit. So for example, on Eldon's profile here, his contact tab is right here at the top. But if for some reason he wanted to move his group, I'm clicking and dragging this up here. I can drag it and drop it right below the contacts. And that way it's a little easier to find. So once you start kicking the tires a bit on the network and see which things you use the most often, you might want to move some of these things around so they're more easily accessible to you. So once you're in here, if you haven't done this before, you can, of course, view your own profile. You can see the contacts that you have, which groups you've become part of, your profile, and so forth. Edit My Settings is also a really important place for you to go if you're new to the network. This means that you can customize a bit more of the information that folks see about you, and it's really helpful just to ensure that everything that's pulled in here is correct. Community profile is a place where you could put your bio, so you can share a bit more information about yourself with folks, pardon me. There's also a place where you could add your social links. So if you're active on Twitter, you could put your Twitter handle. I don't know if he has a Twitter handle, but that's what you would do there. You can also do Facebook, Flickr, LinkedIn, YouTube, anywhere you might have a personal site that you'd like to share with folks can be added here. We were on this tab before. This is your contact information. You always want to make sure that's updated. You can change your photo if you like. We've pre-populated these for most of you with your photos from the annual last year, if you were there. So the ones we had, we were able to upload, but you're also welcome to change it to anything you like whenever you like. This notifications tab, I want to make sure this is really important to everyone on the webinar today. So this ensures that you get the information in the format you like it, and also with the frequency that you want to get it. So this is very common for a lot of networking tools of this type where you can customize this. Even LinkedIn and all of that, you can customize all of that. So on email notifications, what type of emails do you prefer to receive? Do you want to receive emails for things like contact requests or new messages or invites or recommendations? And then here, this is the frequency with which you'd like to receive emails. So do you want to get a daily digest, a weekly digest, or do you never want to be reminded of when things are added to the network that interest you? And there's a few other, you can manage how your group updates get to you and so forth. So I recommend if you feel like you're hearing from the network too much or not often enough, that you make your way, again, this is in Edit My Settings, and then the Notifications tab, and that's how you can customize that. This privacy link might also be very important to a lot of you. This is where you can customize what folks can see about each of your information pieces within the network. So for example, if you don't want folks to see your mailing address, you can hide it, or you can make it public to the community or whatever, or just your own contacts. That's really up to you and completely personal, and you can set those however you like. Okay. I'm going to go back out here to the dashboard. Now, one thing I noticed today is that right below this new to the network, learn how to get started, which, by the way, if you haven't had a chance to get out to that resource yet, I recommend you do after today's webinar, although we are completing a lot of it today. But this sort of is a quick 5-step process of getting your own profile up to date. But anyway, right below that box here, I've noticed that Eldon has a few contact requests that have been made, and he's also got a new message in his message center. So there's a few folks who have asked Eldon to be their contacts within the network. If you've got any of these over here, you're going to see the same thing. You can accept them. I suppose you also could ignore them if you like, but just one click there connects you to all those people who have made you the contact request. I'll then also have a new message in the message center. And it's from yours truly, so you can click on the subject and see the message that came through. Now again, depending on the notifications that you've set for yourself, you may or may not receive an email to your account on file, or to your email that's on file with FICP, alerting you that you have a message in the message center. So again, that's totally dependent on whether or not you set that in the Edit My Settings Notifications tab. You can reply, just like email. It's pretty simple. And send. And the whole thread is kept here, so you can keep track of the back and forth. Okay. As I mentioned before, this left-hand side is where you can get to just about everything that's available to you within the network. What I'm going to go and show you next are members. So this is where you can search and find folks in the network. If you don't put anything in the search here, everybody who's part of the network right now shows up alphabetical by last name right below. But if you search for a last name, for example, if Eldon searches for me, there's a few of us with the last name Lewis. Now you'll notice this little person here, already a contact. That's because Eldon and I are already connected within the network. But with these other folks here, like just below, they're not yet connected. So if you wanted to become a contact of this person, you would just click that. You could also send that person a message, or you can see more about their profile, which just takes you to their profile page. This is where you can see all of the members. Again, this member link here. Over on the right-hand side, My Contacts. That's where you can see the folks that you have already connected with. So you can search for all the people you're connected with, again, with this kind of simplified search function at the top. But here I can scroll through and see all of the people with whom Eldon has already become connected. And there's a few pages of them. The ones who show up on your dashboard back here, that's completely random. That's just pulling from the people you've connected with, and you might see a different set of 6 folks there each time you log in. All right, I'm going to skip down here to the groups. When I mentioned before that the network is the meat and potatoes of the networking for FICP, this would be the meat and potatoes of the network. This is where the discussions take place, is within the groups. This is where we can upload, and you can upload resources for the group to share. This is where announcements can be made from us here at FICP headquarters. There's just a lot that's here within the group, so I want to make sure we spend a little time here. My groups are the ones that you're already part of. So obviously Eldon would be part of the planner member group. He's also a member of our FICP Board of Directors, which has a group. And again, you won't see that if you're not part of a particular group, by the way. We also have them for design teams, for the conferences, and the committees for which people volunteer have groups as well. But you'll see the ones that are relevant to you. We also have this general discussion group. And if there's one thing I would recommend anyone on this webinar does today, I'd like you to go ahead and join this group. You've already been populated into the planner member group or the hospitality partner group based on what your role is, but what you've not done is added to this general discussion group where anyone is able to join. Right now we have 84 members, so if nothing else, if you get a chance today, go ahead and join this general discussion group, because that's where we can have a lot of the full discussion with the whole FICP community there. All right. I'm going to go to that general discussion group now and show it off to you a little bit. a little description at the top. You're also able to adjust your notifications for just this group. So you can decide how often you hear just about this group, if it's all the time, if it's within the digest, or if you don't want to have the group updates at all. Again, I just want to make sure folks know that they can customize that. Announcements come from us here at FICP headquarters. These are just informational things you might want to know about. The most recent one always shows up right there, but there have been a few others that have posted in the last few weeks. So you can see what's been there, what's been added there, pardon me. All right. Discussions, I mentioned before, is also where a lot of the really good sharing happens. Here at the discussions. By the way, I've noticed that 3 of you have already joined this group since we've been on the webinar, so thank you very much. Group discussions can be started by anyone who's part of this group. You can see what we've got here. There's a few threads that have been started. You can see how many replies there have been to each of these. I won't go through them all, but if you do, click into one of the discussions, you can see the initial post and then all the replies that have come in since. And each of the discussions looks like that. All right. Group resources. These are resources that have been added as part of this group. These are separate. If you look over here on the left-hand side with me, there's resources that are open to the whole network, and then there's resources that are available just in these groups. Not necessarily, that these must only be part of this group in this case, like this new convention center in China. Obviously, that's information available to anyone, but that happened to be uploaded as a neat resource in this general discussion group. It could just as easily have been over in that resources tab, which we'll get to shortly. So again, this is where a lot of the good sharing and so forth happens. This general discussion group, we really do recommend you spend some time here and start adding discussions of your own. My partner in crime, Melissa Binkholder at FICP, who helped me get this set up today, alerted me that there were a few questions in another tab that I hadn't seen. So I'm going to go back for just a minute and grab those questions before we get too much further into the network. If you just don't mind to bear with me, Melissa, thank you. Can you download the individual searches? I assume that means where we were out here at my FICP. And the person who asked that, correct me if I'm wrong. So when you go to this individual directory search, I'm assuming that's what that question was. So if I look up folks again in the Northeast, like I did before, so I'm assuming that question means, all right, so I pulled up these Northeast people with 703 records. Can I download just that group? Unfortunately, the short answer currently is no. We're working on it, but it's a very complex sort of job to get done to pull in these custom searches into a downloadable file. It's feedback we've heard quite a bit since the site went live back in November, and we are working on it. But currently, you are not able to download all of these custom search responses here. But again, when we sent the site live, we wanted to make sure it was a really good site that's going to work for you, but sometimes that means you have to do things in stages. And so this particular functionality, because it was such a big job to build it, it did not happen yet. But again, it's on our radar, and we do know that this would be a helpful thing for folks to be able to pull in. So at the moment, no, but again, you could find the folks on that network export, connect with them in the network for now. And so forth. Another question I see here, how is information about meetings entered onto the site? I assume this might be in relation to thinking back on our old website. We had what was called the online exchange, where planners could go in and upload information about events that they had posted in the past or events that they had planned to do in the future. And you know, if you've been around any amount of time, you know that that tool saw a lot of revisions over the years. In fact, when I first came on to work with the FICP team about 4 years ago, we were right in the throes of getting that updated and redone and all of that. And it essentially ended up being a repository of information about particular meetings. And it had details about, you know, which resources were used and, you know, how big the meeting was and, you know, how everything went and so forth. And we had some challenges with that tool. I'm just going to be honest. We had some challenges with that tool, and in that it was hard to get folks to put enough information in it to make it useful to everybody else. It was quite a bear of a job to, you know, wrap up a meeting and you're exhausted, and quite a bear of a job to go in and put in all the details about the meeting you just completed. So we had some challenges on that side. And frankly, with an association of any sort, but especially one of this nature, the real goal is to connect folks and to keep people connected and to have those relationships grow, and not necessarily to serve as a data repository for specific meeting information. And when the new website was, you know, was put together last year in advance of the annual conference, one of the strategic decisions that was made was to not have, you know, not have that be part of the new website. Again, instead focusing on getting people connected out here in the network, because again, the real value that FICP members told us they had was when they saw it, you know, in the connections they had and the conversations they had. So a very long answer to a question. There is no longer a meeting data repository in the new site. Instead, the resources and the time has been put into providing tools that allow people to connect with each other. All right. How do you find contacts to add? Thank you for asking that question. That's a great idea. So I might have gone through that just a minute ago, but how do you find contacts to add? So here within the network, I went back to the members tab here. Eldon, I'm just going to make you a new friend today. Again, if you're here at the members tab, you could do that same search. Anyone who has a plus sign next to their name is someone who is not yet your contact within the network. I'm just going to scroll through here to some. So for example, Eldon and Mike Burke are already contacts, but Eldon and Bill are not. So if you just click that, I'll show you what it does. You can type a message if you want to. You don't have to. You can just request the contact. The contact request has been sent. So pretty simple to do that there. And you can, again, can search by name. You can search by all these criteria here to find folks that you'd like to add. Another question I'm getting through here, and thank you so much for all these good questions. I hope you don't mind that I'm kind of pausing the script, if you will, to answer these questions today. The profiles you are showing how to complete are for planners only. I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand what that question means. The profiles that I'm showing how to complete are for planners only. Each person who's part of the network has a profile. So you should have the ability to update your information and edit your settings, regardless if you're a hospitality partner or a planner. And if for some reason that's not showing for you, at the end of the session today, I'm sharing my email address, and of course you can make me, Nicole Lewis, your friend in the network as well, and we can ask questions offline if it seems like something's not working the way I'm showing you today. If someone can't remember their website password, who should you contact? Good question. I'm going to go back out here to this My FICP page. Again, I'm trying to show the difference here between being in the network and being on the external site. I hope that's becoming a bit apparent. One way you can tell, got too many tabs open here. So one way you can tell is that the the menu items when you're in the network. There's only a few of them. There's only 3 here. When you're on the FICP website, there's a whole bunch more. So that's how you kind of know if you're in or if you're out in a way. If you can't find your password, you'd be here. No. Unfortunately, it's not showing this for me here, but I'm sorry. But below here, where there was the email and password box, there's a link that says lost your password. Click here, and it will get you your password. I'm sorry I can't get it to show for you now, but it's right here on this login page for my FICP, and it's below the boxes that take your email address and your password. All right. Planner profiles of meetings and incentive programs are most important to me. What is the quickest way to access profiles or an easy way to link? Again, this kind of goes back to which data is available within the network and the priorities that were set when this was done. So right now, it's a little, it's not how you remember seeing it, and the planner profiles and all that data and all that stuff. Right now, what the focus is making those connections and allowing those conversations to happen. So I just want to make sure that's clear. All right, there's another great question here. Unfortunately, if you're looking here in the Members tab, this is about a way to the company name for a person's profile can show. So, for example, if you get out here and you're in this Members tab again, and I didn't search for anybody, so I'm showing everyone below. You'll notice, unfortunately, this organization column is empty, and we're very much aware of that. That, frankly, is it's just a bug with the way that our member database and this tool are playing right now. And I know that our IT group is working on this with the company that created this tool for us feverishly, and we don't have it fixed yet. When you're in someone's profile, you can see where they are and so forth. But again, yeah, we are very much aware of that, and I'm sorry that when you're here in the network right now, it's not showing. We're working on it. Okay. All right, I'm going to get back to what we were doing on the script here. Please keep those questions coming. I'm going to try to get through them all as I can. But I'm going to get back to what we were doing here as part of the script. So the last thing we had done, I had showed you earlier, was the groups, and we went out to that general discussion group. Next thing I'd like to show you are the resources. And what I mentioned earlier was that resources can be either here in this resources tab, or they can be associated with a group. So if it's a resource that really would only be helpful to hospitality partners, it's likely it would be better suited to live in that hospitality partner exclusive group. So just keep that in mind. But anything here in these resources, you all can see. These ones with yellow stars are ones that we've noted as featured resources. These, frankly, are the ones we want people to see the most of and keep them toward the top of the list. So the annual conference session receipt comes in very handy for folks for CMP and all of that. We've got all the photos from the conference are here. Our most recent economic impact study. You know, you can see all of those here. That full FICP member and HPR download list I showed you earlier, that's a featured resource. So that will always be toward the top of the list as well. You can also look at resources by category. One thing we did go through and do recently was to make any session receipts or any presentations from past events available via just listing it by the event. So for example, if I click into the 2012 annual conference category, we've tagged anything associated with that event here. So the session receipt, the photos, the on-site guide, if you want to remember what that looked like, the press release about the donation that was made as part of the silent auction, all that is here. So anything that was part of an event is now hosted here. Session receipt for CMP and all of that. So lots and lots of resources here. one thing I also want to make clear is that if you have a resource to share, it's best and actually only available to do within the groups that you're part of. So, for example, if Eldon had a good resource to share with planners, he could go into the planner group. He could go to the resources, and they can be added for certain groups that you have that turned on for. Okay. All right. One thing that's brand new to the network, and we just turned this on recently, a couple of weeks ago. This is the leaderboard. If any of you are part of Foursquare, that's a social media outlet, you can earn badges on Foursquare, and that's based on things you do. So if you become the person who checks in at a place most often, you get the mayor badge. If you spend a lot of time at a particular kind of restaurant, you can get that kind of badge. There's all sorts of badges you can earn. And so this tool, for the more competitive natured of us, is also now enabled to have reputation points involved. We are going to be removing a few of familiar faces here from the running shortly because there's no reason for us to be showing here. The reason that, like myself and some other FICP staff you recognize are at the top is because we've been adding a lot of resources and discussions and trying to get the network on its feet. So soon we will remove all those familiar faces and allow people who are actually adding in, resources from a planner or a hospitality partner's perspective and move on up there. Right now there's only 3 badges available. One is for member matching, so that's I'll show you those in a moment, but answering the member matching questions. One is for adding a new discussion topic, and one would be for like adding a resource. So anyway, what this is again, it's not really anything that's going to be tracked for your professional development or anything like that. It's more for fun and for finding a new way to connect with people and for having just a little bit of creative bling next to your name, I guess, within the network. So we'll be adding more badges in the coming weeks. The communications committee for FICP that I work with has come up with, I think we came up with 6 more relevant badges that will be created shortly. And we will, I will make sure that there's a pop-up or some sort of box over here that explains what those are once we get them posted and how you can earn them. All right, I'm going to go back over to my questions here for a minute. Okay. I think we're getting closer. Sorry for the delay. I just want to make sure I'm reading the questions. All right. I do want to make you aware that this webinar is just sort of the beginning of our educational process for this new tool. So we have created some videos which are available out on YouTube and through the website and here through the network. You can watch them, although everything in those videos are included in what we're doing today. There's also plans already in place for your community manager, that's me, to be in attendance at the remaining face-to-face events for 2013 for FICP. So I will be at the Education Forum, I'll be at the West Midwest meeting, I'll be at the Canada meeting, and I'll be at the annual conference. We're working out plans right now, but the plan is to have some sort of organized session of this nature, not this long, of course, but a session that I'll be part of, and then also to be available for one-on-one questions and tours and things of that nature at each of those events in the coming weeks. So I just want to make sure you all knew that. So if we don't cover all your questions today, again, you can reach out to me in the interim, and then we can meet face-to-face at the events as well. Someone asked, when I go to put in Eldon's name and search, it shows no results. I'm assuming that's over here in the members area. It could be a space, it could be a spelling issue. I always recommend using fewer criteria than more when you're trying to find a person. So if you put first and last name, that sometimes can cause a hiccup. But I just put in Gail last name, and his name came up. So sometimes these search functions can just be a little finicky. So if you can, you know the person's first name or their last name, I just recommend you, like for example, I'll put my own first name in there. It's 4 of us who are named Nicole, and you know who you could find there. So it could have just been a hiccup in the search there. So the question, is there a location on FICP that tracks sessions during the annual? Sorry, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that question. If you want to reach out to me directly and ask that later, I'd be happy to cover that. It might be something to do with, you know, a session receipt or something like that. So please reach out to me, and I will let you know. Okay. And Kelly Livers, thank you for posting that just a moment ago. So she just sent me a note that said cookies or cache problems can create inaccurate searches, at least at the network at her company. So if you're having trouble with searches, it could be something with the way your computer caches web pages, or it could be something to do with the way cookies are stored. That's a very good point. Thank you, Kelly. All right. Back over here at the home, again, this is your dashboard. One other thing I want to make you aware of that we're also working on, and I really, frankly, could use your feedback with, this member matching thing here. So this is a great tool that's built within the network. There we go. So it comes up with this pop-up when you click on member matching. So if you answer the questions based on your role within FICP, the idea is that this member matching functionality will help people find each other out here. Questions 1 and 2 are for anyone, and then questions 3 through 6 are for planners, and 6 through 9 are for hospitality partners. Don't worry if you put this pop-up away and you forgot which ones you're supposed to answer, because it's next to each question as well. So edit my answers. So when we went live with this website last fall, we ran the questions by, again, the communications committee, and these seemed like a good start, but they could probably have some different answers or some different wording. So back on the website today, when I showed you leave feedback on our website or use this forum here, if you have ideas for these member matching questions, I'd be happy to hear them. We, again, put in here what we thought were good ways for people to find each other, but we do know that there's other ways you find each other that we may not have put in here. So again, answer the questions that are relevant to you. The idea is when these are a little more refined and work the way we hope, that it will help connect you with other people directly based on these answers. Also, if you answer them, you earn larger reputation badges. So there you go. And you can always update and edit these answers whenever you like, so just keep that in mind. All right. Eldon, I don't know if you're still in the webinar or not, but your contact requests are flooding in. Hopefully everyone's seeing that within their own instance of the network right now. All right, so that's basically a good tour of the network. Everything, again, is on this dashboard page. We've brought front and center things like the groups and the resources and the calendar and the member matching and your points and all of that, really all in one place here. Everything is hyperlinked. Everything goes directly to what it says it will. So just play around and find your way around and see what you find. And if you have questions, again, don't hesitate to make me your connection on there or send me an email, and I'm happy to walk you through anything you like. That's exactly what I recommend. Okay, so in the last few minutes here, what I did want to take a little time to do was to show you around FICP's instances on social media. Because while our goal is to keep you here at the network and doing most of your interaction here at the network, especially when it comes to meeting planning and to you know, the industry in which you all work, there are still existing social media channels out there that, that we all are a part of. And so I just wanted to bring them to your attention if you don't already follow us there, talk about how it seems that planners and partners seem to be using them. So here we are at the Facebook page, facebook.com/myficp. Just like any other Facebook page. So if you aren't yet part of or haven't yet liked our page, please do. We post a lot of stuff there all the time. But we also want to, again, pull those conversations into the network. So this is more informational stuff or promotional things for people who might be interested in attending the forum, for example. Facebook comes in handy if you're already out there for personal reasons or whatever during the day. Sometimes seeing a little bit of work stuff here and there doesn't hurt either. This is our LinkedIn group. I'm not going to tell you what that URL is to type in, but you can easily get to it from our website here. All of our social media channels are available right here down in the footer, Get Social. Our LinkedIn group is just like any other LinkedIn group. It's out there for discussions. It's out there for promotions. It's out there for jobs. We allow people who are not currently part of FICP to be part of our FICP group because we want them to see what kind of value they could get by becoming involved in the organization. So while there might be some discussions that are here, it's more people who may or may not be, again, part of FICP. Sometimes things that I put within the network, that's me, so things that I put within the network I may also put out here, just because we know folks are already here for other reasons. We've also lately started kind of teasing out to this group, so hey, over at the network we've got this great discussion happening. If you're a member or a partner, log in and check it out. So anyway, that's all here. We do have discussions, we do have promotions, and we do have jobs. Those are all pulled based on your own profile, so mine might pull in something different than what yours does. And of course, FICP is on Twitter. This is our Twitter page. Again, we put a lot of the content from Twitter and Facebook. It could be industry articles we've found or things to share, or we might be reminding people who are hospitality partners or meeting planner members to get back over to the network and remind them to join us there for discussions. So that's twitter.com/FICP if you are on Twitter. All right, I am going to take one more look here at the questions tab. There's a few more, and we will wrap up. All right. All right, someone just said they missed where to find the member matching questionnaire. No problem. Back here at the network, this is the dashboard again. Your own picture shows up there. If you just scroll down a bit, there's a member matching box right below your menu on the left-hand side, and that's the easiest way to find your member matching questions. Okay, I think that's it for the questions that came in today. I hope this was helpful. I hope you found a few new ways to use the network you hadn't seen yet. I do encourage you, if you're going to be at any of those face-to-face events that I mentioned, that you track me down and we have conversations about how to make this work for you. It really was selected and built with love and with your needs in mind. So if there's anything I can answer for you, sorry about that. Anything I can answer for you when it comes to the network, just let me know. That's my job. That's exactly what I'm here for. Questions and ideas, again, use that form I showed you earlier. You can also find me in the network, make me your contact. We can email each other there. You can just email me at nlewis@ficpnet.com. I thank you all so much for taking time to join us today, and have a great weekend. Take care.